everybody. It is Shane,
And this is Drew.
and this, of course, is the 40K podcast where we like to talk about, well, fucking 40K, of course. And every time I listen to that intro music, I need to say this is I love it. Number one, because it's fantastic, and number two, do you ever just constantly visualize the intro to the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie? Do you remember that with the snacks as they're coming in, and it's just like sit down, shut up, watch it. And you're just like, that's every time hear it. That's my visualization goes to that moment. I don't know why, but it makes me smile. It
I'm just
doesn't it?
I'm just imagining Carl now as a as a space marine.
He would, man. Who would Carl fall to? Like what?
Like imagining like his like a bunch of drop pods coming down and destroying like an entire village, and then him just trotting out, looking around, being like, "Yeah, none of this matters.
None
It
of
don't
this
matter."
matters. just lay it to waste. Or better yet, I'd even like to see Carl in the 40K universe as a civilian. So like you could see the drop pod like landing in his pool, and he'd be, "Come on, this is freaking ridiculous." First it was the fry man, now this. He's just yelling at me.
Listen here, you walking toaster. I ain't got time for this.
So Drew, the question, of course, that we love to start our show off with is what's your invulnerable save today, or possibly what's your depressing mortal wound? You know, it's good to get those things off your chest too.
Dude, I'm still freaking dealing with my last mortal wound from that Brian Cox
This
thing.
is
I
this is
I
like
keep
a
watching.
campaign level mortal wound.
Oh my god, I keep like watching additional lectures from him, and he's it's like re-explaining the same thing, and then
And you still
people
don't
like
get it. It
I'm
still
still
just
I'm
makes no
getting
sense.
well, I get some of it, and then like the part where he says, and then you go through the event horizon, and space becomes time, and time becomes space.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. I know what he's saying,
it's
but
like
I like, but what? What
it's
is
like one
that?
of those things too when like somebody asks you like, well, you have to just imagine like some people that are like when you die, there's just nothing, and it's like wait a minute, like it I'm not a religious person. I'm not big in an afterlife thing, but it's incredibly difficult to wrap your head around the idea of just nothing, no no experiences, no emotions, no feelings, no nothing, nothing, just nothing is nothing. And it's so hard because you're like, but what if I miss so and so? No, you won't, because it's nothing. And you're like, but what about? And they're like, no, nothing. And then it's like, but I can't imagine nothing because I would still be something in the nothing. Therefore, it it's a whole. You know what? Forget it. We're talking philosophy today on 40K.
Gonna
No,
cut that. Gotta cut that out.
I cut that out.
So what about you?
Dude, I have a good invulnerable save because tomorrow, baby, going to Comic Con. Comic Con near me in my area is going on. It's actually going on today, but we only bought tickets for Saturday and Sunday. And the
Okay.
plan is Saturday will be our meet and greet day. Sunday will be our day to go and do the shops and try to haggle some people down on some crazy shit. Unlike people that I know that overzealously and overexcitedly pay way too much for things without even trying to haggle with the people. So I'm very excited for that. Plans are to meet Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor in Doctor Who. So that's a very exciting stuff for me and my wife. So, and my son too, because he's gotten into Doctor Who. He's almost 12 years old, and he's super into all the good things that he should be into.
Well, there you go.
As I craft and I mold him the way I want. He likes
Tiny.
40K. He's into fucking Doctor Who. He's into science fiction shit. And the kid wants to be an astrophysicist when he grows up. I don't know how it could be better for me right now. Like, only thing you could do is be like, Dad, I want you to pick the numbers 7, 21, 27, 35, 44, and 52, and then hits the lottery and I win $1 million.
That's the dream.
That's
See, you just got to play the odds. You just the more kids you have, the more random number generators you have. Chances
I
are one of them is gonna draw a winner.
I have a mortal wound for you then, buddy. I have a vasectomy. So there is no more chances at this. He is my last hope.
It's a 40K first, everybody.
Oh, okay. So the main body, I'm just gonna plow in ahead, closing
Yep.
my eyes, centering myself, moving forward. so so the main body of this episode, we were gonna do a little mini book review,
Another
maybe a
book
short story,
review.
little short story more than a book review, I'd say.
Less
Um,
sphincters.
yeah, no more fucking sphincters. I don't want to think of. I'm glad I sent that pickled sphincter to you. You deserve that.
I hated that photo. That was a good book, though. I don't care what anybody says. It was a good book. Belly of the Beast,
You
10
know
out
what?
of 10.
We're gonna be talking fucking shit. The Chosen of Corn. There we go. Fuck, that escaped me for a second.
Very excited about the announcement of World Eaters getting their own codex. Don't
Yes,
know when
so
that's going to happen, but yeah, we
that
thought that this
kind of
was
kind of fit.
yeah, I need to satiate my bloodlust before I can buy my World Eaters army to
And
satiate my bloodlust.
if I may, something that I really enjoyed out of this book, not a lot of sphincter talk. In fact, none. There's no sphincters. You don't even hear about Mervyn, his sphincter puckering up when he first sees Karn. Like, it's implied that his sphincter definitely puckers, but I don't get any descriptions about it. I don't have to hear about it. I don't have to have vivid imagery being burned into my brain. No sphincter talk. I love that part of the book.
And that's the review, everybody.
That's it.
uh, so
See you.
I
See you next week, fellas.
so I listened to the audiobook, as so did you, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I will say this was what, about an hour and 15-minute book
Yeah. I think that'd
audio,
be about right. Yeah.
something like that, a little over an hour. The audio, the boy, words escaping my brain right now.
It fucking
The
sets a scene.
quality,
That's for sure.
yes, the presentation in this book was outstanding, from the voices to the sound effects. I mean, the music.
Yeah. The sound effects really were like the background noises, the dripping. I don't know why that sounds awful. We were just talking about sphincters. Don't talk about dripping. Painting
But like,
images. Stop it.
yeah, but like when
But
you
there's
when
like a lot of like noise effects that like gives you the setting. Like
like
they
you
don't
hear the
describe the
chain hacks.
setting or where they're at, but like when he first approaches Karn and you hear the slow drip in the background and like the echo of the chain, you get like an idea of he's in some underground tunneled area. You get that sense, you get that feeling. You can just
Claustrophobic, some kind of
yeah,
dank, dark cave.
yeah, and you get that without them actually describing. He describes a lot of what he's seeing with the bodies, and then he sees Karn for the first time, and he describes what Karn looks like. But they don't describe like the walls or the room or anything like that. It's literally just like the ambience of sound that they utilize that helps kind of like paint that picture for you, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
I could be crazy. I don't know. So I don't want to jump ahead, so I don't want to jump to the end. But what would be your favorite section or part of the book that that stood out to you that like made you kind of go, oh, I'm in. You got me in for a penny, in for a pound, like kind of deal.
So my favorite scene in the book.
Yeah, what would you like your favorite scene or even setup or even dialogue if you have a dialogue? Although I'm kind of a little out on the dialogue right now. I haven't listened to it, and I got to listen to things on repeat to do that. But
Well, so my favorite part of the book is they set up this. You get to hear Korn's inner monologue almost. He has these. I don't really want to call them like like almost like a vision. You get to
it's like a fantasy almost. But I don't want
something
to say
like that.
fantasy either because like
Yeah. So
that
what?
indicates the wrong thing,
Yeah. So what'll
especially
happen is
especially with what happens.
yeah. So basically in the book, let's just get into the plot. Let's just kind of do like a quick synopsis,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yes.
we can just kind of break it down as we go. So I like that it takes place in the Eye of Terror. That's just it's like a bizarro dimension where anything can happen, you know. So it's for me, whenever 40K novels go into the Eye of Terror, I'm like, whoa, like that
Right.
man's
There
arm.
there's a there's
Yeah,
a there's
that
a
who knows what's going
whole
to happen.
world of
Yeah,
like crazy shit that's gonna go on in the
that
background.
man's arm may turn into a weed whacker. I don't freaking know. Like it's wacky land. So this is taking place in the Eye of Terror on a planet that is occupied by emperor or world eaters, and so basically one of
They're
the like
angry, if you didn't
yes,
know.
always angry. One of the original like corn berserker champions from like the old Legion back during the Horus Heresy, Argus Brand
Yes,
is
Argus Brand. Yep, yep.
so like he's like the current leader. He's being challenged for control over a blood like
It's a blood challenge.
it's a blood challenge, but they want to do a they want to go on like they call it like a blood crusade or something like that, which I could only assume is like all of the world leaders are gonna hop into a space pickup truck and then just go drive off into the the Imperium and wreck up the
Mad
place.
Max style. Like that's how I
Yeah,
envision. Like there's something crazy going on.
and like I like just how simple and brutal it is, and to me that theme describes the world eaters completely.
Yeah.
They are simple in what their objective is. They want blood, they want skulls.
I want I want your blood and I want your skulls and I want them both right now.
They do not have this grand overarching scheme among schemes among schemes. They're going to land, they're going to bum rush you, they're going to take that skull. You're not going to willingly give it to them, and then they're going to leave, and that's it.
Yeah, or die trying. They're
Yeah.
they're gonna attempt it.
So,
So
like, the idea that you have two leaders that are fighting for control essentially to go on this giant crusade, and it's who's going to be in control of the legion when they do it. And so Argus is trying to get Karn to join him on his side.
what I liked about it was in that sense was Argus. Like they make it very clear. Argus is completely and utterly outnumbered at this point. He's been kind of abandoned by a lot of his war bands. It's not looking good for him. Like Karn is the last resort for him, and he's such a proud dickhead. He don't want to even bother him. So then he insteps Mervin, and this is just some old seneschal who knows good goddamn well that he's probably not coming home. And what was awesome and hilarious to me was these visions that Karn would have, because the very first one you get is when Mervin, I'm going to call him Merv because I think it's funnier that way. So
Okay,
when
there you
old
go.
Merv shows up, he goes down into these pits, man, and he's scared shitless to a degree. But he knows what Karn's capable of. So he's like, I'm gonna act like I don't give a shit. Kind of pays off for him. But Karn has this vision, but you don't know it's a vision. And guys, read the book because I'm not gonna do it justice here. Okay. Or listen to it on the Audible or whatever, wherever you do your booking. But he has this thing where he talks in great detail about chasing this poor old man, catching him, fucking cutting him, like in a way that he can't go anywhere anymore. And then because he views him as weak and inferior, he's not going to kill him with Gorechild, his axe. Instead, he's going to like crush his skull in his hands, as he describes it. And then he begins to hack the body to pieces. And he goes into this huge, gory detail. And then literally that it pops in with Merv going, "Sir." And you realize Karn fantasized the whole fucking thing. You're
Yeah,
like,
he's just sat there in like a
holy shit.
daze, drool trickling out of his mouth as he just is like zoned out during that whole thing.
And then on top of it, he literally is like, all right, Merv, let's go. So fucking just after all that, he's still like, all right, yeah, this old man's cool. I'm gonna go with him. Yeah, it's fine. This is all right. Yeah, let's go, Merv.
What's interesting about that to me is so having read Horus Heresy novels where Karn is a character, Karn was always he was always a calm and collected kind of person in those books.
Right.
And then in the book I think it was Betrayer. It's the story that it talks about
When he flips the script
when he,
essentially, and
yeah, well, yes, well, it's got oh god, who's the world eaters? Angron. It's the, yeah,
yeah,
it's the book
Angron.
on,
Yep.
yeah, Angron's when he becomes a demon prince. And yeah, like Karn will be trying to control his legion as they're like advancing an attack, and you just, he like around him, he's seeing them like fall to the control of the butcher's nails, and then they just start throwing their bodies against, barricades and tanks and stuff like they just become like a crazed mob. And then it's described in the novel that like Karn blacks out basically, and then they come to, and then they see what they've done, kind of thing.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Where'd that dead hooker come from?
I caused how many dollars worth of damage? I don't know about that.
Quick, put her in the trunk.
So, like in this book, it's interesting.
Because you get that visualization.
Well, yeah, it's like, is that the butcher's nails? Is that it trying to call to him of like, this could be what we could be like, we could be doing this. Why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
And he just has like the will to block that, or is that Karn like still trying to be in control? So he's like, I'm going to give you what you want, butcher's nails, in my mind, but I'm not going to do that
But
for you in person. Like,
could you also argue though that at that point then he's already made a deal with the butcher's nails because he makes very declarative statement of I have to get X, Y, and Z head. Like that is my goal. That is I have promised these heads to Corn, and that's what I'm gonna do. Because as the story progresses, he comes out and he's gonna fight for Argus, and Argus, there's the whole you can't just change the dueling thing on this on me on a dime, and Terragar is like very pissed off that Argus would try to pull and let Karn fight for him, and it there was a disappointment for me in the sense that Terragar shows up and he's got 7 warlords with him, all different like of the different war bands and whatnot.
I loved how weird they were.
Yeah, no, I didn't mind that, but what it was when they first introduced him, I thought to myself, "Oh, he's gonna fucking kill all these guys." Like that's what Karn's doing. Karn's not just gonna kill the guy's champion. He's gonna kill that champion, and then he's gonna murder all these warlords and kind of like in service to Korn. So he gets the duel against the Flesh Terror, and this was probably my favorite part.
They both kind of do a switcheroo
Yeah.
where Argus is like, "Yeah, Karn's gonna fight for me," and then he's like, "How dare you?" Well, funny you say that actually, because I got this flesh terror that's gonna fight in my
Yeah.
stead. So they like Pokemon duel over the control. They ain't even doing the
Right.
fighting.
It's which is bizarre again because the way the world eaters are, this almost seems dishonorable for it. Which actually, spoiler alert, it ends up being that exact thing because that's what it gets explained towards the end of the book. Because Karn is getting ready to fight the Flesh Terror, right? That's so Terragard has the Flesh Terror and Argus has Karn, and they're gonna fight each other.
And the flesh terror is a,
It's a blood angel given into the red thirst, essentially.
I loved that idea of Karn fighting a enraged flesh terror. Like, holy shit, that is 40K fan fiction right there.
Right. And Karn and the Flesh Terror start going at it, and he's describing every moment. He's talking about the blades clinging off of each other, and he gets me, I get him,
The flesh terror lunged at me. I gripped Gorechild and I went in for a block and spun around to
and
attack.
took a
And
chunk of
like,
flesh out of his side as Gorechild roared,
yeah,
and then I roared, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm into this.
yeah. And that's how every fight has been up to this point. And then you never like, or like all of Karn's like mind battles, like his like
Yeah,
little
because
like,
then they fucking pull the rug out from underneath you, and you fucking find out again. This is all fucking vision. This is all him just having
well, because
fucking
that fight, yeah,
wet dream
that
while
battle,
awake.
man, holy shit. Like the flesh terror takes like rips like a big old chunk out of like Karn's side or
And
something like that.
he's
Like
like
they
excited
go
about
back
this
and
shit.
forth, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like Karn is being he's getting a run for his money right now.
Then they pull this whole shit where he's like, okay, new rule though, you can't use Gorechild. I get to pick your weapon, Karn. And Karn's just like, fine, whatever. What do you want me to use? And so he picks like the shortest, dullest, shittiest little fucking scabbard.
Gives him a butter knife.
Yeah, like a butter knife essentially in 40K. And says, yeah, that's what's going to be your weapon. And then what does Karn proceed to do? He fucking murders the shit out of that flesh terror in what's described in the book as only in a few heartbeats. He kneels down, dodges an attack, and then as he's dodging the attack, he swings around and plunges the blade into the side of the flesh terror's head, and then breaks the blade off in his head. And it's just over. And it's like, dude, the vision fight was better than that fight. Like,
He does that sweet Brad Pitt Achilles jump stab move
yes,
from
that's the way they
Troy.
describe it essentially. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
love it because it really helps
and,
accentuate the guy's badassery to a level that
well,
you're like,
yeah,
holy
like
shit, this guy really is no joke.
it's like that's what Karn and like the butcher's nails like that. I feel like that's what they want in all these scenarios. Like if it's not Karn trying to imagine this to like sate them so that he can think straight basically. I wonder if it's just like that is now like what he wants. So like that old man comes to him, and all Karn wants to do is just stalk him and be the apex predator that he is. And in this situation, he's looking at this like
Fucking
absolutely crazed Astartes warrior that's bloodlusted, and he's like, this could be the like a true fight.
yeah,
This is this
this is
is
gonna be
this
the
is
fight for me. This is the one that's
yes.
got me all fucking jacked up.
And so he comes into it and he's like, let's do this. All right. Yeah. And then the fight starts and he's just like, and you're dead.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Hey, we're done here.
and it's like,
And it's gone.
yeah. And it's like, is he that good? Like, is he that good of a fighter that even a flesh terror that's given into the fucking red thirst is,
Oh, they're no joke. They're no joke by lore standards. They're crazy as shit.
you want to see what an action watch? Angels of Death.
Yeah, I gotta get on that.
Oh, man.
I'm a terrible, terrible person. But hey, so then of course, as fast as that was, Terragar's he's not fucking going with that. He decides, fuck that. I'm not honoring that deal. So then all hell fucking breaks loose. And all the war bands are fighting. Terragar and Argus go at it. And Terragar, he's got like a fucking Terminator armor on. He's not like a normal berserker. He's like a buffed up berserker with Terminator armor on. And him and Argus are going at it, and he fucking kind of fells Argus a little bit. Argus isn't dead yet, but he's on the ropes. And out of nowhere, here comes Karn to save Argus's ass, and he fucking brutalizes the shit out of Terragar. And they go at it for a little bit, and he's about to bury Gorechild into Terragar's head, and Terragar catches it because he's still fucking Terminator armor, so he's got it, and he's like, you lose, Karn. Although still in the situation we described, he hasn't quite lost yet. Maybe not won, but he definitely hasn't lost because he's in a very advantageous situation, let's say. But Karn, being the dude that he is, realizes he's got this. Targar's got this servo-powered fucking arm holding back Gorechild. So the chances of Karn just pushing through with his body weight is slim to none. Karn's not an idiot, so he just pulls out his plasma pistol and proceeds to blow this dude's fucking arm clean off.
He like jams it like in his armpit
Yeah, he
or
like
like
jams it
under
like in the
like,
crook of like the
yeah.
arm and then just pulls the trigger and just severs this dude's arm. And then the book proceeds to explain and describe in intense detail Karn sawing off this dude's fucking head.
Yeah, it's like the heavy gorget of his Terminator armor resisted Gorechild, but Karn would not be turned away, or like
Yeah, he
Karn
would
would
not
not
be
be
turned
denied
away.
his trophy, and you just hear The beauty of the beauty of the audiobook is you hear
Yes,
the chain axe
yes.
grinding against the metal, and you're just like, oh my god, this is
Chunks of ceramite flew off before Gore Child bit into his. And you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ. And what ends up being probably okay, so we're towards the end of the book, and this I didn't want to tell you this before we started recording because I wanted this to kind of come as a fun little ha 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 for you. And what it is so the book has conditioned you that anytime Karn is talking in his head, you have now been conditioned that it is a vision. And after he saves Argus, Argus comes up and puts a hand on his shoulder, basically to say, "Hey, thank you for having my back there." And it
they
is
call you a
this point
betrayer,
that
but you seem like good people.
it
Thank you.
it is at this point that Karn's narration takes over, and he starts describing, you guessed it, him brutally fucking murdering Argus as well, because fucking why not? And you straight up get fucking sopranoed in this situation because you have been fed information that says he is just imagining this. And
Yep,
it gets
of
cut
course.
short this time when Merv goes, "Oh my God, what have you done?" And you realize that what he has just described is him murdering the fucking shit out of Argus.
I was like, oh shit, we done did it for real this time.
And because you had just got done talking, because I had never seen The Sopranos, I never watched the show, but you had kind of like given me the artsy take on how they did the Sopranos finale, where they conditioned you to look through Tony Soprano's eyes every time that bell rang. It was like a fucking Pavlovian trick. And then when the bell
Yep,
rang and everything went dark, you knew he was dead. And
yep,
same thing
yes.
here, you get fucking sopranoed because they give you this, they keep feeding you this one set of dialogue that anytime Karn is talking, don't fucking take it at its face value. He's probably out of his fucking mind, just making shit up. In his mind, this is what he wants to have happen. And then in this last instance, it's really what fucking happens. And then it starts literally raining blood because we're in the fucking eye of terror. So of course it's raining blood. And then in some fucking bizarre violence orgy, everyone
Well, they mentioned like the eyes of Corn, like the blood god himself,
just,
like can be seen peering down on the
and
planet
then
at
they
that
all
point.
fucking murder each other. Except for Mervyn. He lives.
Yeah, because he's like 1,000 years old. He's an
And
old man.
and he's like, but he's like, why not me? And Karn's basically like,
He wants to. It's because he
it's
wants to
because you
die.
want to die. Karn basically looks at him and goes, because you want to die. And to Korn, that's not, he doesn't like that.
No, there's no honor. Like he's not
Yeah,
worthy enough.
there's no honor in your death. Like he's been told that. And it's
And
like,
I'm not gonna. That's why he wasn't gonna cut his skull or his head off and save his skull. He was just gonna crush it because his skull is worthless. It's not even worth
yeah. Because
saving
earlier in
and,
the
and
book,
putting
he
on the
mentions
throne.
how he's going to crush his skull because it's so fragile and useless that it wouldn't even appease Korn. And then at the end, what does he do? He throws the fucking Argus's head in. He throws fucking Tarragon's head in, and he basically says,
Eight
"Yeah, I've gotten my 8 warlords' heads, and they're
eight heads in a duffel bag.
yeah." Where's Pesci when you need him? He's Pesci would have put Karn in his place.
What are you, the betrayer? Huh? You think you're so big and strong?
You think
Look
you're
at
gonna
it. And
turn
then
your back
he,
on me? You think you're some kind of betrayer who's gonna come up behind me and stab me in the back? I don't think so. I'll beat you the fuck out of you with a baseball bat. That's a
oh,
terrible
and then
Joe
Pesci
Pesci
gets
impression by both of us, and we're both bad people for trying.
and then Pesci just gets plasma pistol right in the face because it's not a movie with Pesci in it unless he gets brutally
That
murdered.
that's true. But then I guess he would actually just be brutalized with Gorechild and chopped into bits, because that would be more fitting, I think. Joe Pesci
There you
Joe Pesci is the Sean Bean of Italian crime films. Poor Joe Pesci and poor Sean Bean. if anybody's gonna play Argus in a movie, it's gonna be Sean Bean. Hey, look, some 40K movie casting.
I should.
Either that or he's playing Sanguinius. I don't know which, but he's playing one of them two people.
Oh god, I couldn't imagine him with like long flowing
I
blonde
could.
hair.
I could do it. I could definitely see it. Mainly just because I know he's gonna die, so it doesn't matter. As soon as Sean Bean shows up in a film, you're just like, even when watching Game of Thrones, man, the very first scene he shows up, you're like, ah, man, he's gonna die. Like you,
Well, like yeah, I went in knowing that he was gonna die. So that scene where he's gonna like be beheaded, and it's like a will they, won't they kind of thing, and I'm like, oh, this is how it happens. So that whole episode is just a bummer
right?
for me. There was no maybe they'll make it in time. I'm like, oh, this is how it's gonna happen. It fucking sucks. I hate this show. And then I
Yeah,
was
dude,
hooked.
and then they blew it. They fucking blew it. God, did they suck at the end?
We won't talk about
Anyways,
the final
yeah,
season.
we
We
don't
don't
talk
talk
about
about.
that. So yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed the book. I
Oh
thought it
my
was a
god.
blast. I loved the fact that they set you up like they do. Because each time I fell for it every fucking time, thinking it was the real deal,
It's-
and then by the third time, I'm like, well, he's just fucking having another fucking episode, and then it's the real deal. I'm like, God, fucking damn it! Like, good on you guys. That was fantastic. Like,
Yeah, no. Would you say that it betrayed your expectations?
I'm not answering that because I'm mad at you now.
I'm excited. Check your phone, by the way. Did you get it? I'm on board with Sean Bean playing Sanguinius now. Oh,
What?
Captain, my Captain.
Where the what did you Google search to find that image, sir? That's,
I just googled Sean Bean and I did an image
but
search.
that's him in drag in a blonde wig. Like,
Apparently, there's an article. Sean Bean says there would be uproar if he played a transvestite, and I disagree.
all right. I
I'm
I don't
confused.
even know why that
Um,
conversation got started in the first. Why is Sean Bean
I don't
playing
know.
trans? Never mind.
But you were talking about Sean Bean playing
In the long
Sanguinius,
flowing,
and
I got it. I got it. I'm a maker of my own
and I
prison.
googled it. I just googled Sean Bean because I was like, well, maybe there's a photo of him like with like blonde hair or something like that. And boy, oh boy, yeah,
It's
yes,
not
there is.
at all what I was expecting. I like see like my phone lit up and I'm
He
like
makes a
picture
handsome
message. I'm
woman.
like, what's that? And I look at it as you're asking me. You should look at your phone. Shit.
uh, so yeah, like this. To, back on
Back on
topic though.
topic.
This book, I am excited about where this takes the lore because basically what Karn has done is he's become like the de facto leader of the world
Yeah, he
eaters now.
sees control. Like
Yeah.
he's the last man standing to lead the world eaters.
I mean, Angron is around somewhere doing mean, angry
Well,
stuff, but
Angron's still going to be the Primarch of the World Eaters, but every Primarch needs their subordinate. You know, their go to on the ground.
yeah, and once they become like demon princes, I feel like they just get real like into the weeds on like the god focused stuff. So like he's just like, oh, this is a good skull. That's a good skull. Do you look at the nooks and crannies on this skull? Oh boy, that takes me
Yeah.
back. And meanwhile, Karn's just like, that's great. That's fantastic. All right, sir. Well, I'm gonna leave you with your skulls. I'm gonna go. I got some stuff to do. And he's just like, yes. Oh, would you look at the
he,
tooth
he,
count on this son of a bitch
you
right
know,
here?
little known fact. I don't know if you knew this about Korn, but he's also a phrenology expert. I'm sorry. Oh, man. There's gonna be somebody going, "What the fuck is phrenology?" It's like, yeah, it's a fucking debunked science that meant you could feel the bumps on a person's skull and essentially figure out their life
Got to get
story.
those little calipers out, and yeah, you got to measure, and
So,
there you go. What were we
I,
talking about? So,
I just
so
totally
I
ruined that moment.
so the new codex coming out. I'm assuming Karn is going to be. You probably will have an Angron. They haven't done uh, a demon Primarch's chapter or Legion without having a Demon Primarch model. So you're going to have an
Yep.
Angron model, I
Yes,
would
that's
guess.
what I'm guessing.
You'll have a Karn
Yep.
model, and those will be like your two big HQs. I don't know if there'll be another Emperor's Children or World Eaters leader at this point. I don't know who's left. Um, but that right there is
I,
awesome.
I was gonna say I think
If
they
the
really have set the score as like Karn is the leader. Like he's going to
he's like
be
the
the guy leading them from here on out. And I'm okay with that because I honestly think the way Corn is set, like God Corn is set up, he deserves a leader like for leading his faction, which is World Eaters. They deserve a guy like Karn to be leading them. Because if you ask me, if it's my opinion, Korn doesn't give a shit about tactics or anything. He doesn't give a fuck who's dying, and I think that's why Karn, the Betrayer, is the leader because he is gonna kill anybody in his vicinity. Like in the game, that's how
well,
he
it's
works.
like it's yeah, but like story wise, it's I would say too like he punishes weakness.
Right.
Like when he got the title of betrayer, it was, how dare you all seek refuge right now? Like weaklings, you're not worthy. It's like that worthiness. Korn, the god, wants worthy skulls and worthy blood. Like he wants champions, skulls and
Yeah.
blood. And why shouldn't his legion that now is devoted to him be only those who are worthy? And so like this book was like they were whittling away the chaff, if you will.
Right. Yes. I mean I think I I hope I don't I shouldn't say think because I don't know shit. I'm not I'm not smart enough to predict this shit, but I hope that that's what they're doing. That they're setting the stage for, and I really hope, really hope that the game reflects that as well. Because I hope he plays like he always has played. But I want him to be even more of a monster than he's been in the past. Like
Yeah, I'm hoping for a new model. I'd like it to be
Primera size.
like
I
I
wouldn't mind seeing a Primera size Karn.
I want him to be big. Like I want him to be very imposing. The new Corn Berserker models that they're going to be releasing, like if they're anything like those Corn champions for Age of Sigmar, those guys are
Oh, they
fucking
look
awesome. And
amazing.
every Chaos player has been proxying them as Corn Berserkers, anyways. So, and they're large. Those are big models. They're like bigger than a Terminator. I want to say like they're pretty beefy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I cannot wait. This book,
Got
it's
you amped up.
people just buy it. Oh my god. Well, like that fucking Terragar's like little retinue. There was like the Kroot warrior. There was like a traitor guardsman or like a
Yeah.
commissar or
Yep.
something
There was
like
definitely a
that.
commissar there, the Trader Guard commissar. Yep.
You got your Alpha Legion because why not? they're always into everything. You always got to just have one that's just reporting
Yeah.
in like
Hi, I'm Alfarius. Yeah, yeah, we
yeah,
heard you. Don't
yeah.
care. Moving on. Whatever. We know you're not
Says his
Alfarius,
name's
dude.
Alfarius. That's a lie.
Dude, you're missing a leg right now. We know you're not Alfarius. Oh god damn it. That's a whole other legion that I have
I listened to the Alfarius book and it was good.
I have really high hopes that eventually, with everything that's going on, is that eventually Alpha Legion will get its own book. And I would love, love if they would just not give you a direction. You can play Alpha Legion as both Chaos and Loyal. Like, I think that would be.
Yeah.
And what would be even cooler is if they could somehow tie in rules that were basically like, hey, if A is existing, then B has to also exist. Because if you're like, say you're a loyalist, then you can only pick rules out of subset A. And if you're a traitor, then you can only pick rules out of subset B. And then maybe even have a special rule where you flip. Like you once per game, you can switch allegiances and then you're pulling out a subset B instead of subset A and vice versa. I think that would
Yeah, that
be
could that
like, you know how they got game tactics set up in the game right now in ninth edition. There's tons of shit that allows you to like a one-time thing, one time in the
yeah,
battle, you get to do this,
switch a keyword, or yeah, you could like switch a
and
keyword
yeah,
or
and
something
then
like that,
you're
and then based on that, you could have access to different
right.
a different set of abilities or things like that.
Yeah, are you
Yeah.
listening, GW? Listen to us. We know what we want. We know
But
what the people
yeah,
want.
I think something that would be really awesome. Something else that I would like to see with an Alpha Legion army, if they ever did do like a little sub codex for them, would be something where like if you kill the like one of the commanders or like a leader or something like that, you have a chance, like you roll a die, and on a 4+, a different like basic model can be elected as that leader, and they then are able to like create all the like all of the auras and everything like that, and it just represents that idea of like trying to cut off the head of the hydra. And oh, you thought that was the leader? Well, actually no, I'm the leader. And then you kill him, and then somebody else pops up and says, nope, sorry, actually I was the
And you
leader
know
all
what?
along.
It really wouldn't take that fucking much because Skaven in Age of Sigmar and Old Fantasy had rules like that. Like they had existing rules that worked in the game similar to that that wouldn't take that much to make that happen. So I think that's
Yeah,
another very doable thing that they need to get up off their asses and do because Alpha Legion is fucking popular and they're
yeah,
weird and very bizarre and people love that shit. And
a lot of the chaos armies, I mean, there are big fan bases for all of them. I mean, not just the big four
right,
god specific armies, but I
look
mean,
how big Black
like,
Templar are for loyalists. They're I
yeah,
mean, are they
I'm
massive? No, but they have a very, very devout following. They got their book finally after years, and it's a
yep,
good fucking book. It's a great fucking book,
yeah.
great rule book.
I I would love to run. I would run Alpha Legion. I would love to run Iron Warriors. Would be great. I could see them doing something where they used to have a list back in the day where they ran like guard tanks. You could run like oh, what are they? What are the big, the long range? Is it not Medusa, but the big
Oh,
artillery? Not
no, no,
Chimera.
no, no, no,
Shit.
no, no, no,
but
no.
they could run like big guard artillery and stuff like that to represent their siege tactics and
I can think
stuff
of the
like that.
fucking
Like that
gun
was
that's on it, but I can't think of what it's called. The earthquake gun, the earthquake cannon.
yeah.
Fuck.
Um, but they like if they did a new sub like a new codex for like them, that would be awesome. I would love to see like a combination of Astartes tanks and like guard specific vehicles. Like just give them all of this heavy machinery, because you want them to you want to feel like you're sieging an enemy and just bombarding them with artillery after artillery. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. Night Lords would be a killer
Oh
army.
yeah, dude. That's another book that deserve. That's another army that deserves a book, is what I should say. Absolutely.
Give them, give chaos drop pods, and then let them be able to customize theirs into those terror pods. Like that would be phenomenal. Holy
But yeah,
shit!
just sell
Like
like an
having an
upgrade
army
kit for
that's
their drop pods. That'd be,
yeah,
dude.
it'd be a
GW. If
simple
they gave more love to chaos, I personally believe this. If they gave more love to chaos and just to other armies in general, I think they'd be fucking floored at how much money they'd make.
yeah. Well, and I'm excited. I'm super excited after all of the announcements at Warhammer Fest. Obviously, we're doing an episode on a corn world eaters, but I'm a little nervous that we're not going to get Emperor's Children this edition. That's going to wait until next edition. That's one thing that does scare me, because
I don't know.
we didn't get Because it's like I feel like every edition we've gotten a new Chaos Legion.
But I mean, they've been talking about to be in the year of chaos and whatnot. I'm not gonna say that it's not out of the realm of possibility that they'll get a book, but I won't hold my breath on it either. But it would be very cool because that's another dude. Noise Marines, like again, that's
Yes.
such a cool, bizarre concept. But if you've ever looked at kit bashing pages on Facebook or Reddit, you've seen what people do with these things, and they look amazing. They look absolutely incredible. And this is just from people fucking around. If GW would get up off their asses and actually put forth some energy into paying attention to the, we'll say, relegated books of Chaos, Eldar, Dark Eldar, just all of them. Basically, anybody who's not Space Marine, um, they would be printing money. I think, because I think they constantly say, "Well, Space Marine's our bestseller." Well, fucking of course it is because it's all you ever back. So everybody ends up just falling into a Space Marine faction. But if you actually, it's one of those weird like what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like you can say it one way, but because you're only doing it one way, therefore, of course, that's the way it's going to be done. Like you can't
Yeah.
have it to be where you're saying, well, only people play Space Marine, so that's where we're going to invest our time and money into. Well, yeah, but all you've ever done is invest time on. You've never taken that gamble to go. Let's pump a bunch of fucking money into the Chaos division this time. We're going to give them a bunch of books. We're going to give them a bunch of fucking models. We're going to give them a bunch of fucking upgrade kits. And we're going to fucking go with that. And if it fucking fails, well, we've learned our lesson. Stick with Space Marines. Just go back to the tried and true formula. They make enough money. It's not going to kill them to take a risk for a year and give people what they want. But I'll bet you anything that if you start giving people what they want in the other factions, you're going to have people going, well, fuck that. Why am I playing? I didn't want to play Salamanders in the first fucking place. I wanted to play, Iron Warriors, but I never had an Iron Warriors book. I never had anything Iron Warriors unique flavor wise. So it just always felt kind of wasted. So fuck it. I'm just gonna go play Salamanders then because I got everything I need right there, and it's easier, and I can buy this generic kit of shit, and I can just make them look like Salamander. Stop doing that. That's all I can say. That's the best advice I can give GW. If anybody of GW ever listens to this, is stop doing shit like that. Just take the chance, roll the dice. I guarantee you it's going to pay off for you. You may not make record profits. You may only break even, but your fan base would be elated, and I think that'd be worth it in all in itself.
You know who you just lost?
Who?
Shareholders.
Yeah. They're like, fuck this guy. How am I supposed to get another boat? Oh man. So I don't know. I think that's enough ranting and rambling. I'm having a car moment where I just went on a tangent.
A little bit.
Drew, I have a question for you. So we're talking the book, and I just want to know: do you think that when Karn is done, that he may or may not use the hilt of Gorechild, soaked in the blood of his enemies, and grab himself by the shaft and turn it on, vibrate, jerk off after a battle with using the blood of his enemies as the lubricant?
Was that a wait? What were you asking me?
You'll get it.
That was the post-credit scene of the book. If you just keep listening, it's in there.
That's, I wonder what they're going to do next. It's like
My only complaint about the book was great action, awesome story, but they never actually ate the world.
it's not very. That's I need my books to be very, very to the point.
They called themselves the World Eaters. It's not a single person dug a spoon down into the ground and started chomping.
Blood. There wasn't enough blood on the ground. Maybe that was a problem. Didn't think about that, did you?
Oh, that's the milk. I got it.
It's the milk to the cereal of the
God
world.
damn it! All I can think of is now is Karn just vibing away. Jesus.
I'm so glad I was able to get that out. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it without laughing too hard. So
Well, I'm gonna have weird dreams tonight.
it's a visual that you're not going to get rid of.
Have a good time, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Happy gaming. Have a good day, guys.